Hello, everyone. Welcome to CXO Spice. CXO Spice is a platform for thought leaders to share their point of view on innovation and explain how to make it happen in real world. Today's topic is smart traveling. Our special guest is Chris Juneau, head of SAP Concur Market Strategy. Hi, Chris. Welcome to CXO Spice.
Hi, Helen. Thank you so much for having me today.
You know, Chris, I noticed that you were part of the Concur team who stayed post-SAP acquisition. As a matter of fact, we may have met back in 2012 when I was with Marketo. So tell us more about your journey and how has Concur evolved since SAP's acquisition in 2014?
Helen, great to see you again. I joined Concur way back in 2001 when we were still primarily an on-premise software business. We made the transition in 2003 to what was then called ASP, which ultimately became SaaS and then became what we refer to as cloud now. Then we led the integration of travel and expense, which becomes now is the de facto standard of how our organization should automate these processes. And then SAP came along in 2014 at a great time for Concur because we were such a fast growth company. We were very focused on growth. And not a lot of processes. We got things done because we were so tight-knit and worked together. SAP brought an additional level of maturity to our organization and additional resources on a global scale to help us continue to mature as a company so we can serve our customers worldwide. So it's been a great experience for me and why I've remained.
Well, congratulations, Chris. You know, the progress you've made is noticeable. Right? Also, congratulations on being recognized as the top 25 companies in technology and information in 2022. As a matter of fact, SAP Concur ranked number 12 as the best workplace to grow a career in the industry based on LinkedIn data.
I appreciate that. It's a focus of everyone in the organization about delivering the right experience, not only for our employees, but for our customers.
Yeah, thank you. So after grinding to a near halt during the COVID-19 pandemic, business trips are bouncing back beyond pre-pandemic levels, right? Based on a recent survey from Morgan Stanley Research. However, working capital optimization remains a priority. So what business travel trends have you seen lately?
Sure. So we've seen the same thing, as Morgan Stanley Research. And travel has bounced back in some cases, depending on the segment or the country, to pre-pandemic levels. But it's sort of it's shaping differently. So first, business finance managers, we interviewed over 100 finance managers recognized that they lost revenue during the pandemic by employees not being able to travel. So you have that, and then you have the balance of employees wanting to return to travel. Because of that human interaction, that human connection, which helps drive business. And so what we see as a return, it's that, yes, it's returning, but it's actually fewer employers traveling. So the people that are traveling are shouldering more of the burden of travel. So it's an interesting return when we say it's in some segments pre-pandemic, but it's actually, in some cases, we find fewer employees traveling, but traveling as much, if not more, than pre-pandemic.
Yeah, I actually read that survey. The lost revenue was sizable amount. It was over $106,000 per employee. So, it's really eye-opening, right, to see that survey result. As a matter of fact, I believe face-to-face meetings are essential for established long-term business relationships with your customers or even with your employees. And employee behaviors can be reflection of technology issues and poor user experiences. Do you think that's the case with these rising trends?
Oh, absolutely. So about 5 years ago, as I meet with our key customers around the world, one of the questions I always ask is, how do you measure your success? What are your 10 KPIs? And about 5 years ago, we started seeing employee experience enter in their KPIs from their travel booking, expense claim processing, and invoice management experience. Now, the majority of our largest customers have some form of employee experience because they recognize if you don't deliver the right experience, there is still a war on talent, even with the recessionary headwinds that we have. But employees, expect the same experience that they have in their personal life with their consumer applications that they have from their enterprise applications. And when they don't have that experiences, two things will happen. They will go somewhere else to get that experience, and or they will bypass your processes because they still want to get their job done. And if the technology doesn't enable them to get their job done quickly and easily so they could focus on what's most strategic, they will find alternatives. So we have to deliver that consumer grade experience for employees.
You're right on, Chris. As a 2 million milers and someone who really managed customers and teams at global scale, I understand that any moment of change during business travel could have major business impact. Right? Could you share with us how SAP Concur helps customers scale across not only countries but currencies and adjust for compliance requirements, infrastructure changes, business organization and spend changes?
Well, we can all say that life continues to grow more complex. That would be cliche, but it actually has. Now, as we've emerged from the pandemic in sort of this hybrid, we're almost a hybrid mode where many are still working remotely or partially in or out of the office. And the snapback and return to travel has created challenges, but also opportunities. Many employees who are now traveling may not have traveled before with their organization because they're fairly new in the organization. Organizations' policies were adapted to the complete remote workplace environment, now has to contemplate this hybrid environment. So everyone is sort of learning again what it means to travel and what are the challenges. And we have to ensure now duty of care for employees and even more complicated scenarios with the pandemic still, part of our lives in places. Second, the requirements for travel, whether it be visa requirements, have become more complicated. Third, as we travel, that based on the cities, states, or countries we're in, we may be exposing ourselves to personal tax liability. In the U.S., we called it the athlete tax. California instituted it, where football and basketball teams in California, you play so many times, well, then you're actually working in California, therefore we will tax you. Countries are doing the same thing. So employees are exposed to a lot more potential, obviously, risk from just sheer of travel, but also potential financial risk, because now with all this digital information, countries, states, municipalities want that tax revenue, and travelers are an ideal way of securing that by taxing them. Or if you spend too much time in a given area, that you may be subject to income tax.
Well, I love the concept of duty of care. I actually learned a few things from this conversation already. So I actually have been working with enterprises to develop digital strategy over the years. Transparency with trusted insights and perspective to understand business spend to make sound decision have really shifted from nice to have to must have for best run enterprises. So how has SAP Concur helped solve this challenge?
Great question. So if we go back before, when you think of travel booking, expense reporting information, all that information was very siloed. The travel booking data sat within the travel department, the expense information sat within finance, and the two never commingled. And so many times travel decisions were made before the consequence of that from an expense perspective were understood. Now we have this rich information, richer than ever before, because with so much digitization, elimination of keystrokes, people who administer the travel booking or expense reporting process have access to real-time information to make the right decisions with regard to spending those precious travel dollars. And now they can make more informed decisions on their business. And as you started off in terms of, working capital optimization, I hear over and over again, it's all about EBITDA, where before a year ago, it was all about growth. Now it's all about margin. It's about EBITDA. So people are looking at that bottom line saying, should I make this trip? Can I make this trip? What is the impact it's going to have? And by having this complete end-to-end process, we're bringing the data and the insights directly, not only to the finance manager, the travel manager, but also to the employee, so everyone can make an informed decision about how they spend their precious travel dollars.
I've been using Concur and big fan of that platform. You give me all the visibility I need in real time. And However, as the logistics of doing business become more complex, from navigating global and interstate regulations and compliance, to understanding company carbon footprints, to locating employees around the globe, how has SAP Concur helped business leaders gain clarity and act with certainty?
I believe it's all about the data. We have to, our role is to provide them the data and the insights at the moments in time that make the most impact on their business. As we said, it's grown more complex. There's duty of care. There's potential sustainability questions. There's the expectations of the employee. There's the recessionary pressures that many organizations are feeling. All of these variables are coming to play. And so we have to provide the right information at the right time so business leaders and their employees can make the right decisions about how, when, and where they spend their travel and expense dollars.
Yeah, that's a really very powerful capability, right? And I think every company really is in need of that kind of capability. But since we're talking about smart traveling here, Chris, what does smart traveling mean to you? And I have my own 3 words, but I'd like to hear what are the 3 words you have to describe it?
When I think of smart travel, I think of first purpose. What is ultimately the purpose? Second is the impact. And then third is the outcome. When I say purpose, is it to drive new business, to retain the business, or in cases, as you said, many employees have never met their manager because they may have been hired during the pandemic and onboarded remotely. Is it to build culture? And then second, it's the impact. Now it's the impact first on your budget, but also what's the impact on the employee and the employee well-being, and also the impact in terms of sustainability. And would this meeting be better doing video conference as we're chatting today via Zoom, or would it be better in person? And then third is ultimately the outcome. And the outcome is the business outcome and the outcome from that employee experience. And so that's what I think of when I think of smart travel. It's about purpose, it's about impact, and it's about the outcome.
I love that. I think yours top mine. So I would just keep to myself for now, and I'll share that with you outside this call. Yeah.
Perfect.
So here comes my last question. What other innovations should business leaders anticipate with business travel in 2023 and beyond?
Now, of course, you would expect me to say you should see AI and ML working on your behalf, and I'll throw out a bunch of buzzwords. Instead, I will say what the expectation should be is that yes, there's growing complexity, but technology providers such as ourselves should obfuscate that complexity, meaning making it as clear and easy for you to accomplish the task. Back to those 3 words, it's like, what is the purpose? What is the impact? What is the outcome? Our goal should be having technology reduce and eliminate the complexity from both the end user, from the finance manager, from the travel manager. That's how we should be enabling technology. And then for each of those individuals and their personas to decide when do they want to interact. Technology should work on behalf of each of those personas versus each of us working on behalf of the technology.
I love that. So thank you so much for sharing insights on smart traveling with us today, Chris. Here are my biggest takeaway, right? Number 1 is a reduction in business travel actually costs companies revenue loss and hinders employee experience. Number 2 is investing in employee experience is a long game companies should never miss. Number 3, investing in integrated travel management technology will be welcome change from finance function as they were affected by the labor shortage and less integrated automated technologies. I love the 3 words you described about smart traveling. It's about purpose, it's about impact, and it's about outcome. And with SAP Concur solutions, now CIOs and CFOs can better collaborate to contain cost, improve traveler experience, and track expenses and compliance in real time. So thank you so much for SAP Concur for enabling businesses to achieve operation excellence while driving better employee experience. And thank you everyone for joining us today. Stay hungry, stay bold, and stay grateful.